That's off Dojo, where the strikes come from the fist, not from copyright bots. I'm Shifu Pain, and long ago, 8 months ago, we took a look at the various forms of our namesake with the Wheel of Forms.
Patent pending.
And what you may have noticed is that while each of those forms had a different motif in the form of a various animal, they also had a different element from the Greek zodiac.
Water, earth, fire, air.
And the reason behind that is because each element has its own traits, characteristics, and personality. And so assigning each form to a different element gave it its own philosophy and its own characteristics to aspire to. With all these various forms, it can become quite easy to specialize and focus only on one type of form and become an expert in only one area. And while you can certainly do that, I found that you can find the wisdom for one form in all forms. Having familiarity with various different avenues and finding other perspectives is far more rewarding than sticking to the dogma of just one area. And that is what we're going to be focusing on today as we take a look at our last central form of the Wheel of Forms with the dragon form.
Now, we've looked at the concept of dragons already. It's not that difficult to picture why this is the symbol for things such as balance. But for those that are new, the Eastern vision of dragons is quite different from the fire-breathing, death-spawning, winged demons that need to be vanquished you see in Western folklore. Eastern dragons are much more benevolent, revered as more deific than demonic, more of an association to water, and is an amalgamation of animals, which, according to some sources, was pictured by the figure known as the Yellow Emperor to unite territories under one symbol. But for our purposes, the physical traits of dragons apply to our forms as well. Dragons are essentially snakes or serpents with extra bits, making them of the earth, but their ability to fly means they're also of air. We've already mentioned their association to water, and the last one with the association to fire is tenuous. Looking just at Eastern dragons, they're water spirits, not fire spirits. Anytime a dragon is associated with fire is apparently a punishment from heaven, but sources are thin on the ground. If you were to add Western dragons on in and treat all dragons at once, then you would have the connection back to fire, and you know, to some it may be comparing apples to orange-shaped apples, but I'm just giving you my thought process.
So for our purposes, what can we practice? Well, while it's easy for me to just say, practice all the things, that's not really very practical or even reasonable. You can do that, but I'm not about to recommend it. Instead, while it's useful to be familiar with all the forms, I would also stress the importance of using none of them. And here is where we meet a shifting point. Because, sure, I can keep going on with various forms and showing you various techniques, I can do that. But I don't want you guys to just be doing what I want you to do. And here is where we meet a shifting point. Because, sure, I can keep going on with various forms and showing you various techniques, I can do that. But I don't want you guys to just be doing what I want you to do. Throughout our time looking at these various forms we've looked at, from tiger to snake, throughout that time, maybe it's one specific technique, maybe it's a series of techniques, hell, maybe it's just an idea of something that you want to continue to explore further. Whatever it is that you feel comfortable with, whether it's more of a boxing room, or more taekwondo, or more Muay Thai, or wrestling, or whatever. What interests do you have outside of martial arts? What other sports do you do? What do you like to do for hobbies? What do you love to do? What characters or what states do you love? What makes you, you? Because at its core, what I think dragon form is knowing when to apply the techniques you learn, but also knowing when to stray away from them and following your own path. But don't think I'm going to be leaving you empty-handed today. We are going to be looking at a form today, and luckily this one has dragon in the name. Specifically, the form we're looking at today is taken from Avatar: The Last Airbender, specifically the dancing dragon form from the episode known as the Firebending Masters. Now, why you would think, oh, why are we looking at that? That's from a television show. That's obviously made up. Well, the actual show uses inspirations of real-life martial arts, like Northern Shaolin for firebending. And actually, the dancing dragon has a lot of similarities to Northern Shaolin. So I'll put my hands up and say this one is not really essential, but you know what? it's still fun, so let's give it a try. So with that, let's get on to the dancing dragon form.
Starting off in attention, we're going to go into a variation of crane stance with our raised foot rested on a planted leg and bring the arms up, palms facing upwards. We're then going to sink down into a low reverse bow stance with the arms perpendicular to the front leg. From here, step into horse stance, punch to either side, and then step to horse stance on the opposite side and punch to the sides again. From there, step to horse stance again and swing both arms down diagonally to the left. Step towards the left into forward bow stance and punch forwards. Step back to the right into horse stance and strike to the sides with an open palm, fingertips pointing forwards. We're then going to step into cat stance and spear upwards with our left palm while the right arm rests underneath, serving as blocking. We're then going to turn, bringing ourselves down into a tail kick, and finally go into horse stance to perform a cannon strike with both fists to finish.
Now I'll go through the whole form again for you at full speed. And that is the dragon form. Next time we're going to be going back to the fundamentals. But until then, thank you all for watching, and until next time, peace be with you.